No, I just saw you get a higher number than Johnny Nelson, actually.
I did, actually. That was with my left hand. I never left my Johnny missed the ball, mate. Anyway, what's going on?
What is going on? Well, not long to go now to a huge London clash. We've got so many top light heavyweights in this country. It's great, Spencer, to see two of them getting it on.
Yeah, do you know what? Like WBA #1 and #2 respectively, with Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez putting it on the line. Yeah, I love that, mate. It's good to see. It's healthy for the sport. Two South London kids, sort of grown up. You know, friends become arch rivals, and yeah, it's a great story, man. It's a great story. It's both have done it. You know, both have done it the tough way, really. You know, Buatsi's sort of gone on the road, and so has Dan Azeez. Dan Azeez even more so. You know, Dan Azeez has gone through the old school way of going, like, you know what I mean, Southern area, English, British, Commonwealth, European, doing it on the road, doing it in the other guy's backyard, learning his trade on the road. So, yeah, it's a great fight, man, fascinating fight.
See, I saw Anthony Yard was on Sky Sports, their studio, the other day, talking about him wanting, he's openly said it, he wants the winner of this fight.
Yeah. But now, don't you think that's great as well? You know what I mean? Anthony Yard, you know, he's done it, you know, his way as well, which is like, you know, going through that white collar system and learning the trade on the road, and Tunde Ajayi has done a great job with him as well, you know, and yeah, I think it's great that, you know, you got people that, you know, not just Anthony Yard, you know, you've got Lyndon Arthur's there in the mix as well, you got Azeez, you got Buatsi, it's a really healthy
Craig Richards is there.
Craig Richards as well, not forgetting Craig, sorry mate, yeah. Craig Richards, another great world-class fighter as well. It's brilliant, and the winner of this boxing, Anthony Yard, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Why the world titles are all took up. I'm glad the best are fighting the best.
Absolutely, that's at the O2, Saturday 21st of October. Watch it on Sky Sports, or even better, get a ticket for that come down. Spencer, obviously huge news on Friday night. Fury USYK signed, much to the relief of many boxing fans, but I think we were all hoping for it, but I didn't expect it to sort of have an announcement that quick. Were you taken aback a little bit?
Yeah, I was, to be fair. You know, I think that, you know, you can allow Tyson Fury going down the Francis Ngannou route. We understand the business side of that. Do you know what I mean? Listen, if you look at it as an event, it's huge. It's a huge event. If you look at it as a boxing match, it's a mismatch. As in, Tyson Fury wins the fight and wins it easily, comfortably. So, look, we understand where Tyson was going. They obviously always knew what was in the background. Frank Warren's done a great job and done a deal with the Saudis out there. And that, you know, announcement's been made that they have signed the contracts. I believe, by the way, we get a date for that fight at the end of Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. I think that they will announce it straight off the back of that. December the 23rd has been talked about, but I think it could be at the end of Riyadh season, which will be in around March time. That's where I'm feeling that it could land.
Do you think this Saturday, sort of 23rd of December date has come about just to mess with Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn and Chris Eubank?
Definitely. Definitely, you know, they're sort of holding the cards at the moment, aren't they? Because no one can make any plans until they announce that date of Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. No one can announce, you know, they can't go Conor Benn, Chris Eubank on December the 23rd. They're talking about Anthony Joshua boxing in December. You know, but no one can make any real firm dates because it's got to be around that fight. And because they've dangled the carrot and said that December the 23rd is a possible date, no one can really book up any shows against it, because you can't go against that. That's the biggest fight, you know, that's the biggest fight around right now.
Over the last, I'd say, 12 months, Tyson Fury's copped a lot of heat. I'd say the public have blamed him in terms of why the Alexander Usyk fight didn't happen, first in Saudi, then at Wembley. Does this prove a few people wrong, in your opinion? Absolutely, of course. You know, Tyson Fury's got a good business head on him. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that fight was always there. You know, I think that with Skills Challenge really sort of falling on its head a little bit, you know, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder fight's now fallen through. That's not happening in December. Frank Warren has done a blinding move with this new group of Saudis, and made this fight happen, which is a brilliant thing. It's a brilliant thing. But also, what I think it does, Umar, is that I think it now forces the other heavyweights and pulls out the other big fights, because everyone's been hanging around waiting for these big fights, and through the politics of the sport or the Saudi money, these fights not happening. Now, I think we could see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, and I believe we could see that at Wembley. I think that it could happen now if the money's not there out in Saudi Arabia. I think that that's the sort of fight now, and I think it sort of backs Anthony and Deontay into a corner where you go, right, listen, you can't forget the warm-up fights and all that now. Now these two are getting on for the undisputed.
if Joshua wants to fight the winner of, like, say, Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, which I believe is going to be Tyson Fury, if Joshua wants to be realistic about fighting him, then you got to go in against someone like Deontay Wilder, or Zhale Zhang, maybe. You know, you could maybe, you know, because that's a massive fight out in China. If the Chinese government get behind it, 200 million odd people watching that fight, it could be a huge spectacle as well. But I think that, yeah, I think now we will see the big fights coming in off the back of these two happening. So it's good for the sport.
I hear what you're saying, and I hope you're correct. But is it difficult for both Anthony and Deontay when they're obviously looking at a fight in Saudi Arabia for the pair of them? It's high risk for both of them, but you're getting paid 80, 90 million dollars in Saudi Arabia, then having to go to Wembley and Vegas and taking a third of that. Is that not difficult, Spence?
Absolutely, but that's the game, man. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Then that's the game. So listen, if that fight lands, look, if that fight lands at Wembley, it's still a £50 million fight. Do you know what I mean? With you looking at the gate and the TV and box office sales and everything else, and it's not the money that they would be expecting out in Saudi Arabia. But if the Saudis are not buying the fight, you can't hang around for it. You know, they're at that stage of their career that really we're at the twilight of their careers. And for me, you only get like to give. I think here's what I reckon it is. If Tyson Fury boxes Alexander Usyk, yeah, so let's say that fight lands. Just to say, just say that fight lands in December the 23rd. Just as an example, right? I think then he retires after winning that undisputed. And I think the only way you tempt him out of retirement after winning that thing is by Anthony Joshua boxing someone like Deontay Wilder and doing an absolute spectacular job on him. And that's how you would tempt him back out. Otherwise, what's there for Tyson Fury to come back for? Do you know what I mean? He's got the undisputed. The fight with Anthony Joshua never happened for one reason or another. He's beat Deontay Wilder, who many consider as one of the best fighters around today. He's done everything that's been asked of him to do. He beat Alexander Usyk, so he'll retire very happily and very rich. So to tempt him out of that, I think that, you know, Joshua's got to box someone like Deontay Wilder, and that's what's happening now. The best are going to have to fight the best to try and get the winner of Usyk versus Fury.
I've heard, though, and I'm sure you've heard as well, that there's a two-way rematch clause for Fury Usyk. So obviously he's got Ngannou October 28th. Yeah. Let's say Usyk falls around January, February, then the rematch in Saudi would have to be in September, October because of the weather, of course. So that could freeze the others out, no?
Not necessarily. I think that if they'd done that rematch, like I say, like the rematch could, if they go December the 23rd, the rematch really, the rematch could be at the end of Riyadh season, which is in March. Possibly. What I'm saying is there's loads of possible outcomes to what's going on here. Or does Tyson Fury, does he win the undisputed title and then go, do you know what? I'm done. I'll retire, let the titles fragment, so they all go, like, everyone fights for him again. It'll be a long time till we get them back, and then wait to see what Anthony Joshua does and go, come out of retirement and fight you. We don't have to fight for the belts. Because Fury might not want to give him the shots for the undisputed. You don't know what goes on in Tyson Fury's head, but what you do know is that if he becomes undisputed champion, which is very likely when he boxes Alexander Usyk, he's holding all the cards, man, so it's down to him.
And a reported $200 million apparently he's earning across the 3 fights.
Yeah, it's crazy, mate. 164 million pounds, I believe it is, or something like that. I mean, yeah, it's not about the money anymore, is it? He's earned a lot of money. If he's earned a lot of money, he's become the undisputed, and he's beaten everyone that's around, bar Anthony Joshua. I'm sure that will be enough for him.
Spencer, thank you very much for your time, and we'll speak soon, all right?
Cheers, mate.